Man, what is happening, my YouTube family? Of course, it is your boy B New. I'm coming at you on this Wednesday morning. Happy hump day to everybody. First and foremost, as always, positive vibrations and blessings out to anybody and everybody who could be listening. Man, we got a lot of stuff to talk about today. Man, I swear I don't even know where to start. But first of all, let's congratulate the Milwaukee Bucks and Giannis Antetokounmpo on their victory over the Phoenix Suns last night. And not trying to say I called it, even though, like I said, my pocket's been getting a little bit fatter throughout this whole series. I said, go back and watch the tape. Teams could win 2 games and then lose 4. And I brought up the times that it happened. And I'm not saying that to toot my own horn. I'm just saying that a team can be figured out in the playoffs. And once the NBA is all about matchups. It's all about matchups and runs. Of course, teams always go on a run. So matchups and runs, that's what I always say. So when you see how they matched up against one another, you just saw that Milwaukee had figured something out. And through the first 2 games, Chris Middleton didn't play well. And of course, Chris Paul was pretty much having his way. And Milwaukee had not yet figured out how they wanted to defend their pick and roll. Well, we saw all that change in game 3. And then, of course, Middleton took his game on the road and differentiated himself from being a role player to actually being a star in this league and being a part of the dynamic duo. But to me, the person who deserves a lot of the credit for winning this series, to help Milwaukee win this series, is Jrue Holiday. The defense that he played throughout the series and stretches against Devin Booker and against Chris Paul, because he basically took away their whole offensive scheme. And then, of course, the steal that led to the iconic finish that put the Milwaukee Bucks up 3-2 in Game 5. So anyway, man, now that we got all that out the way, because we're going to touch back on the games as well, but I want to address these smooth brain people. Damn, it's people out here, and not just the fans, but media pundits and everybody. Like, please give me a place at the table so I can educate you all. Now, let's just go back, what was it, a couple years ago, pre-pandemic, pre-bubble ring, whatever the hell y'all haters want to call it. There was a championship played. And I want to say it was Golden State Warriors against the Toronto Raptors. Kevin Durant was injured in that finals. Klay Thompson was injured in that finals. And as a result, Toronto, who was already there by, I won't say a lucky shot, but an amazing shot that could have went either way, that put Toronto in over the Philadelphia 76ers. But at the end of the day, after the unfortunate injuries to that of Klay Thompson and Kevin Durant, the Toronto Raptors go on to win the title. And then next thing you know, you got all these dope heads out here, or whatever you want to, they gotta be on something, because they sitting up here saying that Kawhi Leonard was the best player in basketball. What is wrong with y'all? Somebody win a series and now they the best player in basketball. Are you not looking at all the variables? Are you not looking at the variables? I mean, you can do any experiment and you change a variable, a heat, a temperature, anything. So the variables, and taken into context, let's just put it like that. Let's put things into context, people. Does anybody, if there's a smooth brain person listening to this right now who actually think that the Toronto Raptors would have beat the Golden State Warriors with Klay Thompson and Kevin Durant fully healthy, please stand up and say something in the comments so everybody else can get in the comments and roast you up real quick, because we all know that should have been a Golden State 3-peat. And I'm not a Kevin Durant fan, as you all know. I roast him from time to time, but I'm just gonna be real. They would have won that series. But then all of a sudden you had everybody saying, Kawhi Leonard's the greatest player. Okay. So when Kawhi Leonard teamed up with Paul George and they went, for the Clippers, and this bubble ring was so easy to win, it was so easy to win. Why the hell he didn't win it if he was the best player? So everybody said, right? Now, Giannis goes off and has 50 points. And I've been giving this man his props. I've been giving this man his props and said he deserves it and that he's one of the top 5 players in the league. Don't get me wrong. And everybody been trying to take away saying he doesn't have a particular skill set, and I've come to his defense every time. And I'm still going to continue to come to his defense. But it's 2 things that I've heard and seen as I woke up this morning and as I looked last night before I fell asleep. There's a lot of dummies up here saying that Giannis is the best player in basketball now. And there's a lot of people also saying that Giannis took the torch from LeBron. There's a lot of people saying that he is the best player, just like they did for Kawhi. But while he is a great player, don't say he's the best player because they won the championship. See, that's what smooth brains keep failing to realize. The championships are a team sport. Championships are a team sport, right? It's a team accomplishment, It's a team accomplishment. So if championships are a team accomplishment, let's just be honest now. If Kyrie Irving was not injured and James Harden was not injured, do you actually think the Milwaukee Bucks would be in the finals? Tell the truth. It went to 7 games with just Kevin Durant. It went 7 games with just Kevin Durant after Kyrie was injured. So just think about that. And if it wasn't for his big, long, slew-footed toe being on the 3-point line, then more than likely it would have been the Brooklyn Nets hoisting that title last night, and everybody be giving Kevin Durant the hoopla for 3 finals and 3 final rings and 3 final MVPs. But see, that's just sometimes the way the ball bounces. See, I know, and like I said, I'm not a Kevin Durant fan, but I know that Kevin Durant could easily have 4 rings just like LeBron. I know that because the injuries and injuries again this year could have very well easily been 2 rings for him, but not necessarily because the injuries to Anthony Davis. Because I'm under the impression that even a fully healthy Nets team could not even beat the fully healthy Lakers team because of matchups. Because of matchups. Now, the Lakers are going to have to get a little bit better as far as their outside shooting, but we got all off season to talk about that. But people, be honest with yourselves and tell me. So let's say the Nets was healthy and Giannis and the Bucks didn't even make it to the finals. Would anybody out here, would all these media people be out here saying that Giannis is the best player? But now you're saying it because he won the finals and have a final MVP. And I haven't even brought up the fact of who their opponent is. But before I even bring up the fact of who their opponent is, what was Giannis' last game against Atlanta before Trae Young got hurt? See, people got such a short-term, what have you done for me lately style memory off in these streets. I don't understand. Because when Atlanta tied it up 2-2, Giannis was still healthy. Matter of fact, Trae Young was already injured and did not play in that game. And Atlanta smoked them boys by 20 points. Do you understand me? So this Bucks team was struggling against the Hawks. And that's no knock to the Hawks because the Hawks played some good basketball this year. But this Bucks team, let me repeat that, was playing against the Hawks and was struggling. Then, as we all know, Giannis was injured. He misses the next 2 games. So had Trae Young not been injured, Atlanta would have went on to win that series. And would anybody be saying Giannis is the best player in the association right now? He up there. And I mean, listen, it's a toss-up. It's a toss-up. You know, I would still take in front of Giannis if I had a choice. Now, availability is is something to speak on now, because Kevin Durant has been injured, James Harden has been injured. But to be honest, if I had to take anybody in the league right now, I would first, if I was just wanting one run at a championship, right? And I could pick any player to be on my squad, I'm gonna take a LeBron James, and I'm gonna take Kevin Durant right after that. Or it might just be a toss-up between Kevin Durant and LeBron James, because that's just how great both of them are playing. But I would take LeBron James because of his ability to get other teammates involved. He is older, and some might say he doesn't have what it takes on the defensive end, but I think he does still have it on the defensive end, not through the course of the season, but once you get into a series, then yes. And not to mention his IQ, because we all know what LeBron James' IQ is on the floor, and many people can testify that LeBron James called out their plays. The other teams, he will call out their plays. He knows what they're running. He knows their position on the floor, where they need to be. He knows the passing lanes. He knows their schemes. He knows they plays that they're gonna call. So let's just be honest. I would take a LeBron James and a Kevin Durant and then a James Harden, just because of how of a prolific scorer James Harden is, and his ability to constantly get to the line. And as we all saw what James did when Kyrie was hurt and he was playing point guard, and how much he was just dropping triple doubles, getting everybody involved. Do you understand? So with that being said, then I would take Giannis. So I say fourth. And there's nothing wrong with that. But don't go all of a sudden just because this man won the finals and just crown him as the best player in the NBA right now. That is retarded. I'm sorry, can you say that? That is stupid. Sorry, y'all, I grew up in the 90s. That is stupid. So at the end of the day, Giannis is not the best player in the NBA. And I know a lot of people saying that he is right now. But let's just be honest. Giannis won that ring because all these injuries. And let's not forget, Phoenix would not have been the true representative of the Western Conference had there not been the injuries to Anthony Davis, to Donovan Mitchell, to Mike Conley, to Kawhi Leonard. Am I forgetting anybody else? Because I'm telling you right now, if Utah was fully healthy, if Donovan Mitchell, man, did y'all see how good he was playing? Did you forget before he hurt his ankle and re-injured it? If Mike Conley was playing, do y'all forget that Utah was the #1 seed? If they was representing the West, I think they would have ran Milwaukee out of the gym just because of matchups. And Rudy Gobert, he know how to play defense on a Giannis. Now, he didn't match up so good against the Clippers, as we all saw. But it's all about matchups and coaching, and that's how you have to be able to do. And as much as I am not a fan of Frank Vogel, we all know that down in the bubble, when the Lakers won a championship, there were a lot of different matchups that had to be changed. Some series, they couldn't go big. Dwight Howard and JaVale McGee got no playing time against Houston. We know that. So at the end, what I'm trying to tell you all is, Giannis, while being great, that ring, I'm so happy he won that ring, because he won't win another one for a while, in my humble opinion. Because come next year, if you can have, and think about it, Kyrie ankle injury was a fluke. Now, Harden, that hamstring seemed to keep lingering. He tried to rest it for a long time. Maybe he came back too quick. I think he did. I think he came back too quick because Kevin Durant wanted him to and needed him, because he didn't want to play without him, which I think was a bad move, to be honest. And I forgot earlier I said that Kevin Durant, did it by himself. James was there, but he wasn't. And that's why I forgot, because that's how terrible he was. He was more of a decoy than anything else. He was not a fully healthy James Harden, which is very easy to see. And going back to what I said about Utah could have been there. The Clippers could have been there. I probably would take a healthy Clippers team over Milwaukee. I would take a healthy Lakers team over Milwaukee. I would take a healthy Nets team over Milwaukee. You know, but they still a good team. I still rank them in the fourth best team. I still rank them as the fourth best team. Trying to think in the East who is a better team than Milwaukee other than Brooklyn. I mean, you would say Philly, but the way Ben Simmons proved to be unreliable and giving you nothing on the offensive end, then, you know, it makes you not want to say that. So, I mean, nothing against Milwaukee. Who knows? Winning this championship, I will say this, can give players such a confidence that when you got the ring and you on top, man, it's hard to take it from them. So I look forward to the battles that Brooklyn and Milwaukee will have next year, because Milwaukee not going to bow down to anybody anymore, and they got to play with a lot better confidence, because truth be told, Milwaukee still can match up with Brooklyn. I just don't think that they could beat them in a 7-game series if Brooklyn was fully healthy. You know, Drew Holiday might could help slow down James, but who you going to have for Kyrie when they move him to the 2 spot and he just going out there to score? We know how great ball handler Kyrie is, and a great shooter and clutch shooter he can be. So, I mean, just be honest with yourselves. Giannis, you got that ring. Oh, and speaking of this, sorry, y'all, it's my allergies early in the morning. Speaking of this is the other smooth brain stuff, man. I can't believe I forgot that I'm just not getting into this part. Then you got these people sitting up here saying, and Giannis said this himself, he did it the right way. He didn't go to a super team. He could have went to a super team and played his role. I give him that. Like, he was a free agent. He could have went to a better team. I will say that his front office did do more. You know, they just didn't sit back and say, here's what you got. You know, they brought in a Drew Holiday. You know, they made sure they knew he could play defense better. They brought him in to go with Middleton, and that was a great move. Mid-season, they bring in PJ Tucker because they know what how big of a role he played on defense, even, you know, guarding Kevin Durant in the other series. Even though he didn't bring a lot to the table offensively, they knew what he did defensively. So, I mean, I will give Giannis that. But for people, the smooth brain media pundits, and for the fans to sit up here and say that Giannis one ring is better than all 4 of LeBron's, that got to be the dumbest stuff I ever heard in my life. And they want to keep calling Miami a super team. It's just all your definition of a super team. Like, to me, and this is just my opinion, I know a lot of people are going to disagree, I don't really look at the Miami Heat team as a super team, because even though Boshie is going into the Hall of Fame, I look at him as a great player, you know. But it's not like even people want to say, even Shannon Sharp will sometimes say that the old 86, 87, 85 Celtics team was a super team because of the number of Hall of Famers were on it. Even though it was built internally, they say it was a super team. To me, I don't think it was really a super team. I mean, Kevin McHale and Larry Bird were 2 unstoppable forces who meshed well and played well together. You know, now Robert Parrish was icing on the cake. Dennis Johnson. You know, I know all these players went into the Hall of Fame, but to me, that wasn't really a super team. To me, because they were capable of being beat. You understand what I'm saying? Because we got to remember, the Lakers beat them. But then people can say, well, the Lakers was a super team because they had 3 Hall of Famers and Magic, Kareem, and James Worthy. But at the end of the day, I just look at it like, and there's no knock to KD, I'm just saying it's my damn opinion, is that Golden State Warriors team was the only true super team in the history of the association. Because what you had was an all-time historic team that won 72 games, that has potentially 3 Hall of Famers already on it, and then you go add a second best player in basketball, right? So This Nets team I would consider a super team because it's the same way. 3 prolific scorers, 3 Hall of Famers. It doesn't have that 4th piece, but this is the way I look at it. Anytime you have 2 MVPs, if you had 2 MVPs, somebody who has won an MVP on the team at the same time, then that's a super team. So, I mean, you could say that Lakers team was a super team, but Kareem was well past his MVP getting years when Magic was doing his thing with the Showtime Lakers. And that's what people fed about. They think bald head Kareem and they think he's sorry. No, you better think Afro Kareem. You understand what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, James Harden has won the MVP. Kevin Durant has won the MVP. And Kyrie Irving is a multiple All-Star. And we know is an MVP level type player. Who, if he wanted to go on and pour it on next year and have a hell of a year, he very well, if Harden and KD decide to say, hey man, we'll go backseat for you. And if you want to go out here and get 30 a game, then go ahead and do it. Because Kyrie Irving can lead the league in scoring. That's how good he is. So that's a super team. You understand what I'm saying? And you might could argue that the Miami Heat could be a super team. You might could argue that. And people want to get on LeBron James and say, well, he started all of this. But LeBron James didn't have the front office of a Milwaukee Bucks. He didn't have the front office of a Milwaukee Bucks to go out and acquire key players to help them succeed. They got him an old broke down Shaq. They got him who he had, Booby Gibson, Egauskis. I mean, and was still being the number 1 seed a lot of times because of the efforts of a one LeBron James. But then he was going against super teams himself. Was he supposed to sit 2 or 3 more years as KG and Ray Allen and Paul Pierce sat around winning championships? No. So he used his free agency. And everybody want to say Giannis did it the right way. What's the right way? What's the right way? Because let's just be honest, and I'm going to go back to my point again. If Giannis, if it wasn't for the slew of injuries, then he wouldn't have won. He might sit in Milwaukee and never win a title. So I'm about to tell y'all right now, barring injuries, next year, barring injuries to the Nets for the next few years, if they can keep that team together, Giannis not winning another ring. So as people already ready, I heard somebody say that this put him in the top 10 already. This dude got 12,000 some points, y'all. He ain't in the top 250. He's not even in the top 250 scorers of all time. Somebody said he was better than Kevin Garnett already. Don't shit on Kevin Garnett name like that. Kevin Garnett is the top 25 scorer all time. He has a ring. He has an MVP. He doesn't have a Finals MVP. Does he have more skill than Giannis? Yes. I would say so. Does he have a defensive player of the year like Giannis? Yes. Was he great on both ends of the floor? Yes. So, to me, I mean, you couldn't go wrong starting your franchise with either one of them. Y'all youngsters better recognize how good KG was. Pull up his Olympic film when he was schooling everybody in practice. Just do that for fun. Pull up his Olympic film when KG was schooling everybody in practice and then get back at me. Please. Because what you're saying, what people are saying just doesn't make any sense at all. That Giannis is already top 10. Now, he has potential to be top 10. He has potential to be top 5 all time. But he has to go out and finish his career. He has to go out and finish his career. Let him go out and see if he can win some more rings. Now, if Giannis vanquishes the Brooklyn Nets next year, a fully healthy Brooklyn Nets team, and then goes on to the finals, then we're talking a different story. We're talking a very different story, but it's all yet to be seen. So I'm saying he has the potential, but I'm not one of those people that, as soon as you do something, let me just throw you right into this mix of being the best. It doesn't work like that. You have to look at all the other variables that's involved. Now, to me, when you understand he could have went and did it like this and did it like that, I don't think that's a shot at LeBron James. Like some people are saying, if anything, it's a shot at KD, because he's the one who keeps jumping and joining super teams, and he doesn't have a ring without one. Now, you can say LeBron, oh, Miami was a super team. Well, did they go against a super team? All you super team people, when they beat OKC, when they had James Harden, Kevin Durant, and West, oh, they were young. They ran through the West. They went through defending champion Dallas, who had already beat Miami. They went through San Antonio. They were young. No, they got their ass beat. So was a super team against a super team? It's still a ring, ain't it, family? It's still a ring. And then Skip Bayless, old decrepit self, had the nerve yesterday to say that LeBron and AD is a super team with just two superstars. As he looked at the roster, Caruso, no offense. Kuzma, some offense. Super team. I keep telling y'all, man, get that dope out your veins. Get that hope into your brains. Get yourself together. But as I said before, man, congratulations to the Milwaukee Bucks. We're going to keep this thing going. We got a lot of stuff we're going to get geared up to for the Lakers off season. And we also going to get into some NFL talk, some college football talk. So I look forward to everybody coming along with me on the journey. And as always, as your boy say, man, right on to the real, and much love to y'all haters. I'm out.